wanted to like Husbands of River Song. I really did. From the return of River Song to the giant red robot to the new sonic screwdriver, even to the announcement of guest stars Matt Lucas and Greg Davis. And if you have seen my reaction to the ending of Hellbent, you could see how I was hoping that this special was going to be fun to watch. And upon its release, everyone was saying about the same thing. The ending scene, saying how good it was, 5 stars, the Doctor and River's final appearance, 10 out of 10. Guys, you do know there was an episode before this, right? The Doctor lands on the planet Mandorax Delora in 5343, where he is asked by a man named Nardo to follow him, thinking he's a surgeon on the orders of River Song. A surgeon is required to remove a diamond from the head of the tyrannical King Hydrofax, and River seeks to recover it. Surprised that River cannot identify his newest face, the Doctor struggles to break the news to her while learning how she acts on her own, and how many lovers she has had. However, both he and River soon find that the time is drawing close for the last page in the diary of her journals together to be written. All this episode is a buddy cop road trip, but also mixed with a random series of shenanigans. I literally have no idea how to feel about this plot. This is clearly a story that wasn't given enough time to think over, so Moffat and the team just used whatever they had cheap and added them together. The Diagon Alley Street, the robot, River Song, the monks, Beatles, boom! Husbands of River Song. Look, while it is good to see River Song again, and work with Capaldi this time, I think she has officially overstayed her welcome, the same way Fastra, Strax and Jenny were in Series 8. Yes, we've got the same flirty Melody Pond, which I really don't like watching, but we did have a few scenes with the wiser and more older River Song from Silence in the Library, and she does have a few funny moments with Capaldi. I just wished she had her hair turned brown to keep it as it's actually taking place before her descent to the library. Since this episode is called Husbands of River Song, and what they did with it is just, what the hell am I watching? Sure, it may seem funny, but she has multiple husbands and lovers. One of them is a small head on a giant robot body, but it's clearly River Song having multiple affairs or committing adultery behind the Doctor's back. Remind me, why does the Doctor love her again? Sure, the Doctor is there, but she didn't know he was the Doctor at the time. The supporting cast? Well, they're just red shirts or throwaways. One of the husbands, I can't remember the name, is just a bland good-looking guy who only gets killed off after the first 10 minutes. While it is nice to see Matt Lucas appear in Doctor Who a few years after David Williams appeared in the show, I think we can agree that there are a few weird moments, mainly due to Matt Lucas's traditional acting, like the wiggling face or the camp Marjorie Dawes voice. But overall, I didn't have a problem with him. I thought he was fine. I did get a little annoyed when I found out he was going to return in Series 10, but what we got from him then was just fine. But the best supporting character in the episode is Hydrofax, played by Greg Davis. While it is pretty funny to see a giant actor like him appear as a small head on a giant robot body, I was mildly impressed with how they had his head placed on random tables. I mean, yeah, the bag, the handling, the tables were pretty obvious, but then we got his head on the TARDIS console. I literally went online to try and find a behind the scenes video about it, and when I found out exactly how they did it, I literally just went, wow. I mean, yeah, obvious, but still, good God. But yeah, I did enjoy watching Greg Davis as Hydrofax, whether he was being soothed by River Song or ordering his robot to kill his enemies. However, much like Nick Frost in Last Christmas, much like Alexander Armstrong in The Doctor, the Wizard and the Wardrobe, and much like Tasha Lem, he's just wasted in this episode. Almost. They could have just had any other actor to play him. There were a few times in which I was thinking to myself, if that's all we get of Hydrofax, then why did we need Greg Davis? Since he was slightly overlooked by other characters. And that's one of the other problems. This episode has way too many villains. It has Greg Davis' head, the robot voice, the Beetle Butler, the monks, the half-faced people, which by the way, what was the point of them? Did we really need them in this episode? I mean, yeah, they are basically there to show that the BBC still has a budget to make clearly fake special effects on their heads, but they really don't serve a purpose in this episode. Seriously. And if you were going to have an alien party on a ship, couldn't you have had multiple aliens on there? And yet, all there is are Beetle Butlers whom are clearly ripping off Bana Kafalata from the Voyage of the Damned, which, by the way, that ship, it's clearly ripping off Voyage of the Damned. In fact, the entire scene is ripping off Voyage of the Damned. Stephen Moffat clearly had not a lot of enthusiasm in the story, that he just farted out an idea and just wrote whatever random thing popped into his head. Have the Robot King be River Song's husband? Move on. Have the robot head with a diamond in his head? Move on. Have the Doctor and River get together? Move on. Have an attack in the TARDIS? Move on. They arrive on a clearly Titanic spaceship ripoff to sit at a dinner party? Move on. Have a dealership scene with an alien race? Move on. Go back to the Hydrofax? Move on. Have an emotional scene with Doctor and River? Move on. River makes a boob bra joke? Move on. You see what I'm getting at here? I literally have no idea how to feel about this episode. There were some scenes which I thought were really good, and I thought were going in a decent good direction, but then in any random second, the story would then move to what is clearly a different episode. I'm not saying it's all bad. I mean, the first half, while annoyingly predictable, was still pretty fun. Capaldi's fake reaction to the TARDIS interior got a giggle out of me, and yeah, while the ending scene was well acted and well written and so on, I really have no idea how to feel about this special. It's not good, but I am glad that I saw it. I guess if you want to see the Doctor and River's story finally coming to an end, for the time being, you'll get it. It's just not in the right story you'd think it might fit perfectly with. But if you want a Christmas special worth remembering, I'd say go and watch the previous specials. It could have been a little better, but then again, it could have been a hell of a lot worse. And I mean a lot worse.